Hello, hi. I had to repeat. I have to make a do-over. This is yours truly, Clarice T, and today is the 17th of June, 2025, and it's a Tuesday. Thank you so much for those who are able to hang in there and from the time that I have started to this day, actually, there had been some reasons to cheer good news. And there are reasons, to say, oh, this happens again. Oh no, this is happening again. So, of course, if it happens for the nth time, then more or less, the lessons from the past is that to gauge what can possibly be a harsh consequences of wrong speculation or something like wrong courses of actions, and from there um, you know move on from there. I just want for to put into the equation, into the scenario, the um, the reasons why these are keeping on, why this keeps on happening. And it has to do right now, yeah, with connectivity and the unresponded request for assistance, and three, on the way to normalizing relationship, on the way to uh, you know finally um, reaching another cross out, like the cross out being you, Clarissa T. Garcia, you, Clarissa talaga. Why aren't you not? Why aren't you not a nuisance streamer? Why aren't you not someone that I should be wary of? Why aren't you not a person we should hire, or we should hire your services for? Why ever not are you the person who can have who can be part of a productive and like an altogether positive community, something like that. So I am speaking like in a very secular tone, because with my faith, of course, my interpretation of how things are would be different. But I am not, in order to be coherent and to be understandable, to be understood, I have to, find the common ground in a secular discussion of why and how things are happening. Why have I strayed into the orbit, into the radar, and why? Um, since the beginning, whenever there was if ever there is a temptation to go back to something that bugs me, to bother me, if there is something that I can change, if I that I will change if I am given a chance to do it, would be, to begin my platform, to begin my music, and to begin my a new like a new work, a new occupation, like being a content creator from a zero background, from from who is she, like if sabi, who is that woman who keeps on appearing in my feed, whose name is always in my inbox. If the question would be who is she, that is more preferred to the Please, cease and desist. You don't need her in your company. You don't need her because she is that, she's that. So from a zero background to a deficit meaning there are already established camps who would go out of their way, to yeah, to be at the opposite, to be at the other end of my goal, something like that. So I also have this distrust of people who would claim that I don't know you from Eve, something like that, or uh, maybe I would be like, I would humbly and I would accept the consequences of being kind of a conceited person from the perspective or from the viewpoint of someone. I would readily somehow concede to that, because I had paid a great price um, in ignoring the voice of reason, which says that for every time that I place myself in front of the camera, each time that I would launch a project, each time that I would launch a song, a music release, there is a what you call it. I'm trying to be not so negative about it. There would be people who would be against it and who would be saying completely the opposite of what I want to share. Like, I want to share something about how, there, whatever you may say about me, I can be a good friend, I can be a decent person. But there will always be someone who would say, no, she's not. No, she's a user. And be not contented with the verbal or with the whispers, but they would put it on paper, so that actually the most like the most harmless thing that I would do, like sell a product, had been met with failure because there was short of stock, something like that. So when it became a trend, I had to devise a more creative ways and means. And so whenever it would push me really to the deep end, in the sense that in really working out how to navigate the hurdles and the failures, somehow I would find myself truly out there, out on a limb, and then something like, boom, you're not supposed to be there, out on a limb, on just that, a very flimsy leg, and a very flimsy hold on reality, or on the like a table. You are being supported by a very weak legal leg, or like, oh, it's a potentially humiliating statement to make. So when that had happened so many times, it isn't that what you say, it is not hard to be guided by lessons learned, rather than being, immune to the embarrassing situation. No, it's just that it's a course of action full of surprises, because so many things are not. Nobody can see the future, and we are all product of our past decisions and present decisions and future futuristic idea, or what our idea of the future looks like. So therefore, each day is an interplay of, yes, course of action. Then next is changing of the mind. Then next is, rationalizations, because we're all humans and we are influenced and we can influence. So, and we're all adults and we're all like, as adults, sometimes we have to take one for the group, we have to take one for the family, and for the course of actions, for our belief, for our advocacy. And if it will be a hard situation to extricate ourselves, that's one way of looking at it, or the other is, it's just an honest mistake, and that I hope that there can be a way to correct the wrong impression, something like that. So, oh yeah, for my part, it would be so hard to ignore the expensive correction, the expensive consolidation of my data and of my record, like like common sense, like statistically, like logically speaking, but more appropriately through the legal paper trail. Yes. So I am so looking forward also, if I would be given a chance to have this conversation in person, I would grab it and I would, yeah, and I would say my piece and I would accept any kind of, because everybody deserves to have their peace, especially if there are untoward consequences that as a result of the interactions. So yes, it would be hard to it was hard, take it from me, it was a hard beginning. Nevertheless, it also removes the wool on my eyes for me to see better. So from the time, like in 2008, I had really been out of touch with the old friends. So anything that would connect them with me right now would be on account of what had happened before 2008. And 2009, 2010, it would have been corrected by, yeah, a simple conversation. Don't say that. Something like that. Or, yeah. And 2013, yeah, something like that, I had been consumed with graduation of the girls. So I would presume that those things that I do for my family would not be a cause for and some kind of ill feelings that would be so antagonistic to whoever, especially that I wasn't that I am open now to examine the contents that my IP addresses have uploaded for the public to read and to for the public to digest. So in 2016, 2017, I was busy with young kids. So, and I was part of the therapeutic treatment for Jewel, and that it had what had helped me, to to navigate through the lingo, and to have the clarity in communication, not to beat around the bush in a manner of speaking. It had helped me, so it would not be any antagonism towards any authority, persons of authority, or in the government, because I was busy with the domestic life. So what remains to be a constant irritation and constant cause to disallow me to have the earnings, to have a platform that is free from legal problems would still be that for the year before 2007. Yes, so it remains unresolved, but not because I had been uncooperative. So since I am willing for my inboxes and my outboxes, my sent items to be opened, the problem with that is that it takes two, right? So for me to send a letter, like an email, the privacy of the one who I had sent it to should also give their consent for it to be examined and scrutinized, something like that, in order for a clear resolution of where the confusion lies. So the timeline is part of my postings, my content, at what year had I been was I able to become a proud mama, when my daughters were wearing toga, graduating, and when they had treated me with their first salary. So those were my posts actually. So I don't think they are very antagonistic, and they could be regarded as nuisance streaming, because mostly I would feature our members of the family. And secondly, about my perception of physical attraction, I don't think that a person in his or her right mind will actually prefer someone like when you were sick, when you need someone who would be with you in your times of problem, when you were down. A person who has an irregular feature, what can be considered as aesthetically undesirable and a candidate for cosmetic surgery, but that person is beside you and you are just feeling so desperate and so down because everybody could be closing their doors on you, but there is a person whose face is so irregular, who is not attractive, but he was there. So it changes your perspective, it changes your eyes remain to be like, if it's 2020, or if you need eyeglasses to see clearly, but because of an added dimension, like this person makes you feel secure, makes you feel like less afraid, less stressed, then that person becomes more attractive. And it doesn't matter if in the past you had said, oh my gosh, like in a moment of lightheartedness, like when I say, oh yeah, I'm ugly, but she's uglier, something like that. Oh yeah, you say I'm ugly, but look at yourself in the mirror, something like that. So a person in his right mind would not take offense on something that has little hold on reality, because reality is you would want to spend time with someone with whom you can count on, rather than, oh my gosh, look at the face, the six packs of this man who will not give you a day in his busy schedule, who would not even look, and who would not even lift a finger to help you. So of course you can admire, oh, he's, and in the spirit of fun, you can make many stupid remarks that hopefully hopefully you would be in the right company for it not to come back at you fully, fully distorted and twisted and ready to, ready to call the ambulance, something like that. So when you are in a safer environment, so you can put your hair down, and yes, you can share some private moments that you hope would not be taken seriously and would not be distorted and twisted. Because if that happened, the trust and confidence also kind of they are eroded over time, and sometimes there is nothing like sobering than an incident of that sort. So if it happens again, if it happens one, it's in them, it's on them. But if it happens again, but it's on you, do you why do you once again not, like, if it is happening over and over and over again, so somehow there is also, are you masochistic, something like that? Do you like pain? Do you want to be always in stress? Do you always want to look over your shoulder or something like that? So I, like, last night I wasn't able to sleep last night, and I was really looking over the demeanor of I know it's going to come out later, the demeanor, like, is he happy, is he like is, of course I am not a psychologist, and I just like, for a person who cares about what kind of negative impact or consequences I would have, I would assess, oh my gosh, did I do that, or will I do that? So, and then yeah, from there I had to come up with with ownership. This kind of ownership would be a very good starting point to untangle and loosen the knot. So a better decision making can come after, right? And another thing that I want to point out is that in the past I was I had a chance to defend myself, like well-meaning friends who would make remarks about my bag, being a bag man, like how I was how I had not accumulated, how I was able to enjoy some perks, being the daughter of my father, something like that. And I also got to share my own thoughts about my conscience, and had shared it. So we are in politics, and it is not it is part of the territory to have that accountability, because officials and even government employees come up with their own statements of assets and liabilities, or SALN, and file them, and that would be a window to how they are managing and how they are that would explain, hopefully, any like a windfall, like if you cannot explain where your fundings had come from, where your big capitalization or sudden sudden inflow of cash that cannot be explained, that is very problematic if one is in politics as a government official, or even as employees who are part of the government bureaucracy. So yes, that's it. So in donations, if there is really a concern that a lump sum of money is going to a person who doesn't have a right over that money, the litmus test is always like, you go back to the source of money, and can you do that? And like, ask clarifying question. Can you clarify what that money is for? Because the person to whom you have intended that money for is this kind of person. She is, she is very undesirable. Like, her character is so flawed that any money that you would give her can be used as, destructively. Like, it can harm the people around her, or it is certain. She is known to be anti this, and she is known to be an enemy of this. And if you give her the money, she would probably use it against them. So if it is clear, at least, even if you don't give that person a chance to say, no, I'm not that kind of person, but at least the veil of confusion can be lifted, and there would be a clear prohibition. Like common sense would say that, I cannot prevail over the local dynamics that had prevented, that will always prevent me from going there. So I should seek an alternative that is acceptable to me. So it is not that I would need to speculate and to create a boogeyman, something like that. I would do not need to create a boogeyman, or that I would not create my own ghost to scare me, something like that. And that would be merciful. That would be an act of mercy. Like, Clarissa talaga, you are not going to, in simple terms, some people trust you, but we do not trust you to have a direct communication with such and such, because you are this kind of persons. By giving to me a direct information about my flaw, about my character that I need of fixing, it would be a clear indication of, okay, I can apply my remaining good sense, to improve myself, so that I won't cross, so that I won't offend. And the interaction would break years and years of blocks of gap that nobody could ever find the ways and means, because it has reached a proportion that it's truly confusing. It's truly like, there's no way out, where to begin to break the ice, something like that. Go to the people who had made the donations in the first place. Go to the source of the money, and like, the money that you are giving is causing a lot of disturbance. It's either you take it back, or give it to some other more deserving. But just don't put down the person, one person or another, one person or the other, to the point that that he or she would be so helpless to get herself back to her feet, that she will need the supernatural help of God, because there would be no other people who would who would treat you the way they are treating each other, like something like that. So that kind of person, of course, can always go down to her knees and pray and wait for any kind of like help. Right? So that is where my faith is coming from. And, but the secular interpretation of that, is just, to wait till the dust gets settled and be upfront about how it feels to be like someone professing confusion can, I can also confess my confusion about the confusion, because I've been very clear about where I stand, where I am willing to what extent, to what length, in order to pursue an advocacy. So if I don't think that I can be clearer than how I had been. So even if at this point in time, if I come as ambivalent and I come out as very confusing, I don't think that from this point on, I don't think I have it in me to be clearer than how I had been. So like it's so hard to awake a person who is already awake, that like I have extended a hand that if it was not accepted due to the confusion, I don't think that I can bring more clarity than how I had exerted and put myself out there, exposing myself to bring clarity to what can never have a clearer perspective than what is already being shared with others. So, and the rejection, it is impossible to deal with it without my faith, and that is where how I am able to count my blessings, how I would not explain away, but how I would believe that if something has not happened, it is God's will, that it is mutually, there is a better outcome for everyone concerned, because God is still in control and He is still sovereign, and we are still people who enjoy prerogatives, who enjoy free will. Like, how would I want to address my confusion, Well, anyway, that's just my viewpoint. So, in the next days, things will even be more distinct, and that I hope that I could be given a chance the way I had given others the chance to slap me in the face, in a manner of speaking, proverbially. So let me just end this video with how things could be so worse, that taking into consideration, taking into account the mistakes and the flaws, the interplay of the imperfections of every person, I think we still are coming out of this better than if it's any other way, because we can still count our blessings, and that our vision of what our future looks like is not it's not any less clear. I don't think it's less blurred. I don't think it's more blurred. Yeah, I don't think it's more blurred, and that going forward, um, it it is manageable. I think through God's grace, it is manageable to look at it without denying the distrust, without denying the lessons learned, which others call trauma. But for us, it's the sounding of the alarm. Oh, it's happening again. It's like some sort of deja vu. If we don't allow it to make us a better person, of course, it's always our choice. It's not just semantics, as if like oh, you cannot decide this, you're not doing the right thing because you had been so traumatized by what happened. Or another way of, okay, you've been there, you're supposed to know the rules with your age, with your experience, and you still haven't learned. So it's two conflicting and two extreme perspectives, and it remains on us how we navigate the happy middle. And but it's also I am helped by listening to other streamers, and I that is something that I so appreciate, that I, even if I don't agree, even if there would be a point of contention, I would still choose to listen and to hear and to respond in a way that would be right for me, that is not denying the distrust over, the initial, sometimes it's mutual. What I say can be so distrusted and can be easily denied, and it works both ways. What I would listen to, I can compare it with the document evidence. I could compare it with real incidents in the past, and I can choose to believe or not. So yeah, it is it is a good starting point. Something has changed last night, and it's a moving forward. And yes, I it's going to be clearer and less cryptic in the days to come. But, I can just hope for the best. And yeah, I would say thank you so much, because I have learned so many things. The time that I had spent, like being sleepless, well, I hope that I would, I can be given a chance to to give back any kind of favor that I had been thrown my way. So, and to, like, I am not claiming that what I'm saying is 100% what had happened. It's 100% truth, because it's my truth, and which can run against someone else's truth. And in the days to come, we can be given the chance to compare each other's truth, and to manage the distrust, to manage the differences of opinion. Yes, that's it. Thank you, and looking forward.